What would make Avatar 2 good? To start, I'll be very clear, I'm not a big fan of the original Avatar, and my criticisms are wholly unoriginal. The story was too derivative, the message was anything but subtle, the writing clunky, the characters thin. Though it was visually striking at times, the novelty of those visuals disappeared eventually. Quicker for those like me, slower for others. Regardless of criticism, the movie did strike a chord with audiences, as proven by the box office success. There were the impressive effects with 3D technology, the corresponding beauty, and the immersive world of Pandora. It was a new sandbox for the audience to escape to and play in, and we love to escape our reality and plug into new worlds. This idea is not new. Other films have had characters plug into alternate realities, The Matrix and Inception to name a couple movies that are better films overall. It's a dangerous desire of ours that I may address at another time. Overall, the audience didn't seem too bothered with Avatar's storytelling approach, even with the extremely simplistic characterizations of modern industry. It is true that industrialism can be so ugly, and nature so beautiful. Occasionally, we as an audience appear to discard nuance and desire clarity in our stories. In that regard, Avatar succeeded. To be fair, there are times I do appreciate clear distinctions of good and evil. So moviegoers were eager at the time to put on their 3D glasses, enter a portal into the world of Pandora, and escape for 3 hours. Now 13 years later, we were asked to go back. I just don't know if I want to plug back in. But what would entice me to return? What would make Avatar 2, 3, 4, 5 better than the original and worth our time and money? We know we're going to get eye candy, but that won't be enough. Let's start with avoiding the cartoonish, overly simplistic characterizations. We get it. Environment good, industrial military bad. Don't hit us over the head again and again. Nuance might now be a better path forward. More importantly, focus on a meaningful story and invest in the characters for the long run. Prioritize the story over the technology. Like any good movie, it has to start with a story rooted in truth. And with that in mind, I did find a glimmer of hope. In a recent New York Times interview, James Cameron stated, "When I look at these big spectacular films, I'm looking at you, Marvel and DC. It doesn't matter how old the characters are, they all act like they're in college. They have relationships, but they really don't. They never hang up their spurs because of their kids. The things that really ground us and give us power, love, and a purpose, those characters don't experience it. And I think that's not the way to make movies." Continuing, "For me, as a parent of 5 kids, I'm saying, what happens when those characters mature and realize they have a responsibility outside their own survival?" Cameron's criticism is valid. Our popular movies appear to be stuck in a perpetual state of adolescence, perhaps reflecting our own state. But will Cameron effectively back up his criticisms in Avatar 2? Will he create that family story that matures with its characters? And I'm not talking about a cardboard cutout of family life, or an overly political modern representation. Don't unfairly attack masculinity or traditional values or some other essential aspect. I'm unsure if Cameron is the right guy to tell this kind of story, as other recent comments cast doubt, but it appears he is going to try, so we'll find out with the final product. Can the foundation from the movie support this ambitious story? I suppose there is still potential with Jake and Neytiri. Since they were never characters that had much depth, you could say there's room to create new strengths and layers in each of them. I hope that them having children is transformational, where we see matured beings whose perspective has expanded, and there's a sense of awe in the joy of parenting, and therefore pulls forth the best of what's inside of them, portray the numinous spirit, as C.S. Lewis described. I hope the story illustrates the self-giving nature of parenthood, the wonderful acceptance of responsibility, and portrays the value of having the strong masculine and the strong feminine within this structure, how each gives for each other and for their kids. If you haven't seen my video on Éowyn, I explain the need for both in further depth. In a full portrayal of family, there is potential for a complex, meaningful story. If a strong story like that can be told, if they can avoid the ideological lecturing, if story is prioritized over technology, perhaps James Cameron will have another big hit. To finish, I hope for beauty. I hope that the beauty of the film is not just of Pandora and advanced visual effects, but of the transformational effect of having children, of the rich life of a family. And we can see again what is of true value and begin to wake up.